Speaker, my question is to the Deputy Premier. The Office of the Auditor General has released its 2011 annual report, which states that Ontario does not have significant measures in place to combat auto insurance fraud, which may cost the system as much as $1.3 billion. Benefits costs in cities like Brampton rose by 37% a year in recent years, compared to just 14% in other areas of the province. The average cost of automobile accident insurance claims in Ontario is 5 times higher than the average injury claim in other provinces. Will the government commit to establishing a special unit of the Crown Attorney and Office of Financial Crimes Prosecution that would fight fraud and keep Brampton and other Ontario drivers from paying more?
Mr. Speaker, I thank the member for his question. He is a new member. He would not have been here for the last budget when we created a task force, Mr. Speaker. That task force was in the budget. The member's party voted against it, Mr. Speaker. That task force has now presented its interim report. We made that report public last week. It has been widely circulated, Mr. Speaker. We look forward to a response to that report. It was by the way, the task force is chaired by a former Deputy Minister of the Federal Finance Department, a well-regarded Canadian, Mr. Speaker. There are comprehensive recommendations that involve the Ministry of the Attorney General and a number of others with respect to fraud.
Answer.
I welcome your question. I thank you for it. I just wish your party had voted for the initiative 7 months ago, Mr.
Supplementary.
Speaker, as we did on this side of the House.
Mr. Speaker, back to the Deputy Premier. I've read the report from the Auto Insurance Anti-Fraud Task Force. The task force itself reports that fraud is extensive, increasing, and has a substantial impact on auto insurance premiums. In fact, in 2009, there were 75,000 injury claims filed, while there were only 62,000 injuries from automobile accidents actually reported. 20% difference. Fraud can have a financial impact through increased costs and premiums, and public safety impact through staged accidents. Both the U.S. and Britain have dedicated insurance fraud investigation organizations. These units have dramatically decreased fraud. Since the Auditor General and the task force have acknowledged that fraud is a growing concern, will the government take action and establish a special unit of the Crown Attorney, an Office of Financial Crimes Prosecution, to fight auto insurance fraud?
Deputy Premier.
Mr. Speaker, we will act on the recommendations of the report. I thank the member for having reviewed it. He correctly notes that the report does in fact deal with those issues. It is a little difficult to understand because his party, the caucus, his leader voted against it, Mr. Speaker. It was a good initiative. It's been well received by the industry. I remind the member opposite that the party he's a member of, in their last 3 years in office, insurance rates went up 43%. 43%. Now, we're not going to go back there. I can assure you of that. I know you weren't part of that. You're a new part of the caucus. Many of your colleagues were. Even your leader said, with regard to your insurance record, this is what the Leader of the Opposition said: we lost track of the advice. As a result, insurance rates went up. That hasn't happened under our government. It won't. I look forward to your support of the task force's recommendations.